Christian media is not very good. Well, okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. There are some pieces of Christian media that I legitimately enjoy, but unfortunately a ton of them just miss the mark. Do you think that if we're children of such an amazing, creative God, then we would be able to create works that surpass any secular creation? But that's not the case. To me, there are three categories of bad Christian content. First, there's the media that puts heavy emphasis on its message, usually the gospel, leading to the story and characters feeling underdeveloped. Then there are the overly pro-Christian productions, the kind that make Christians out to be the most perfect, most loving people in the whole world, while making everyone who isn't out to be some of the most ruthless people who have ever lived, despite it often being the opposite, unfortunately. Lastly, and the topic of this video, there is Christian children's entertainment. While this category has existed for decades, it became quite the lucrative business with the release of a little show you might have heard of called When VeggieTales hit the scene in 1993, it was the show to beat. If a company was even slightly involved in Christian entertainment, it attempted to get a piece of that VeggieTales rhubarb pie. Attempt being the key word. Most of them never made it past their pilot, let alone first 3 episodes. However, there was one show that, despite all odds, was able to hold its ground against VeggieTales and went on to be decently successful. In hindsight, I can see why. It was cheap to produce. It had fantastical costumes. It had thrilling action. It was a Christian Tokusatsu. For a few months now, I've been getting into a genre of television that I never thought would interest me. That being Tokusatsu. Power Rangers. Now, I had some experience with it in my earlier years. I had a few Power Rangers toys and I saw bits and pieces of whatever season was airing back then, but I never fully got into it due to little LionDog not knowing how a TV guide worked. Fast forward 14 years and while scouring Disney Plus, I came across a documentary on Toei's Spider-Man. It caught my attention, and when I couldn't find the show anywhere else, I turned to the next best thing, the original Kamen Rider, and I fell in love with it, both Kamen Rider and Toku as a whole. Now you might be wondering, where's the appeal? It's just actors in rubber suits crushing cardboard buildings. Well, I personally enjoy it for the same reasons people enjoy stuff like musical theater or wrestling. You know it's all fabricated, but part of the enjoyment comes from suspending your disbelief. The special effects might be simplistic, but that's part of the charm for me. It reminds me of those episodes of TV shows where kids make a movie and come up with unique ways to replicate the big budget effects. While the special effects and action are what got me interested, what keeps me coming back is the upbeat aura these shows give me. There's just something about Tokusatsu, whether it be the passionate actors, the eccentric characters, or the optimistic themes that always lift my spirits. And in this day and age, we could all use a little spirit lifting. If you're still on the fence about it, I'd at least recommend checking out Toei's official YouTube channel, where they've been uploading full episodes of Toku, both new and old. If you're looking for some suggestions on where to start, I'd honestly say choose whatever show interests you. The great part of Toku is the variety of styles and themings of each season. It's basically the Oreo of television. There's a Toku for fans of ninjas, fans of dinosaurs, fans of magic, fans of mysteries, fans of time travel, fans of Persona 5, fans of video games other than Persona 5, and a bunch more. But what about a Toku for me, a good Christian boy? Is there a Christian-oriented Tokusatsu? The good news is that there is. The bad news is that it's BibleMan. That's right! Move over, Kurt Wagner! Move over, Kamala Khan! We got the real greatest religious superhero right here! Miles Peterson, BibleMan! Chances are, if you didn't grow up with this show, you've at least heard about its notoriousness. I fall into the latter. Whenever someone online brought up this show to make fun of it, the masochistic side of me wondered, I wonder how bad that show really is. But before diving into an episode, let's get a little background on BibleMan itself. There isn't much, or at least not from what I could find. It was a 1995 Christian direct-to-video children's series created to compete with the likes of VeggieTales and Power Rangers. Outside of that, nothing. This show just sort of popped out of nowhere. I was, however, able to come across a lot more information on the show's writer, director, producer, and star, Willie Ames. For those unaware, including myself, Willie Ames was a child actor on classic sitcoms like 8 is Enough and Charles in Charge. Ah, that explains why I've never heard of him. If your sitcoms actors never participated in the Disney Channel games, I couldn't care less. Williams appeared to be a happy-go-lucky child actor. As he grew up, he began to develop an addiction for drugs and alcohol that ultimately cost him his marriage. Soon after, he became a Christian and decided to use his fame as a way to teach others about God, leading him to help create BibleMan. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty commendable of him to want to use his acting career to share his faith with others. But a good testimony does not equal a good product. So is BibleMan as bad as others say it is? Let's find out. You're watching the LionDog Show, and I'm watching BibleMan, the 6 Lies of the Fibbler. We kick off this episode with a man walking down the steps of his Super Mario-themed chemistry lab. He then opens the door to his weed chamber. Wait a minute, I thought this was Christian. Oh, never mind, it's actually the chamber where he keeps his BibleMan suit. Did you see that? You saw that, right? The helmet bent! Like it was made of rubber! Could they not afford a stronger material to make that helmet? If Toku has any budget at all, it goes into the hero's suit! Where did all that budget go? Oh wait, they blew all their budget on that sick 3D logo for the theme song. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. The BibleMan theme song actually kinda slaps. Like, really slaps. Like, seriously, what is it with Christian shows and having sick 80s synth theme songs? The opening itself is actually kinda lame. It's mostly just slow motion clips from the show and introduction cards to some kids that make this look more like a goofy kids sitcom than a superhero show. So nothing new, I guess. The episode proper starts off with a girl riding her bike without a helmet. Not even a minute in, and the show is already setting a bad example to children.
Hey, where's Ashley? She's late again.
Forget about Ashley. Where's your real voice? Because that was clearly dubbed in later. These 4 kids then go on to perform a generic worship song in their front yard. Part of me likes to wonder what would happen if the neighbors walked by their house while they're putting on this extravagant production. Well, at least the kids are having fun with this. Ashley then makes it to the house and GAH! Who is that? I don't know who that guy is, but I have the sudden urge that I owe Jared Leto an apology. This is the titular Fibbler, a villain that makes people lie by breathing on them. Well, these visuals take on a whole new meaning in 2021. Right as these kids are about to get into a heated argument, a Minnesota Vikings fan named BibleMan appears in a burst of light.
Ooh, BibleMan.
You must be really pathetic if you're that scared of BibleMan.
Well, I was praying and I felt led to come by and encourage you.
Oh, sorry, I felt a great disturbance in the force. After giving some basic encouragement, BibleMan leaves as quickly as he appeared. That would have been a perfect time for BibleMan to resolve the argument between the kids, but then again, we wouldn't have a plot. And wouldn't that be a shame? Brian then tries to make up with Ashley by putting her in charge of half of the youth group's music.
Half?
Well, yeah, that way we could, you know, kind of be a team.
Did the Fibbler get to him too? Why does he sound so nervous? Also, why are you entrusting this clearly irresponsible girl with half of your recital's music? I'd understand it if it was writing half of the music, but it's just holding onto a cassette tape. Are your 90s pockets too full with your Game Boy and Polly Pocket? I don't know who's the laziest. Ashley, Ryan, or Willie Ames while writing this script. We cut to the church recital and they're singing another song. At first, I thought we were seeing a short excerpt from the song just to establish what's going on, but this song goes on for over a minute. This is the BibleMan show. Why are we putting more attention on these kids? The song isn't even that great. I'm much more entertained by the smug looks from the audience. I skipped a night at the bar for this. During the intermission, the pastor asks Ashley for the second tape, but uh-oh, she doesn't have it. You had one job, Ashley. One easy job. And you couldn't even be bothered to do that? Forget about lying. You need to learn about responsibility. If you couldn't figure it out, Ashley tries to get out of her dilemma by lying about it. Wait a minute. I just realized something. Ashley isn't lying. He is. He's just using her as his puppet. You hear that, kids? When you lie, it isn't your fault. There's just some Joker impersonator breathing on you. One aspect of the Larry Boy episodes of VeggieTales that doesn't get enough credit is how clever they were when it came to teaching kids while still having a major villain. In The Fib from Outer Space, while Fib did use Junior's dishonesty as a way to become strong enough to destroy the city, Junior still made a conscious choice to lie. Everything that happened to Bumblebird was still his fault. Unlike Larry Boy, this show is telling kids that it isn't your fault when you sin. It's just a demon forcing you to sin. Now sure, maybe the Fibbler was just giving her the ideas for lies and Ashley was choosing to say them. Like in Wonder Woman when the antagonist chose to listen to Ares' ideas. However, in that movie, it was crystal clear what Ares was doing. All we know here is that bad breath causes girl to lie, making it look like kids can't resist temptation. I guess riding your bike without a helmet isn't the only bad message this show teaches. The pastor then tells the audience that the rest of the performance has been cancelled. I don't see why. Couldn't they just play the same songs over and over again? I mean, that works for my church. Also, BibleMan's at the recital too. in his costume. I wonder if he always shows up to church in that costume and he always sticks out of the pews like a sort of Spot the Anime protagonist picture. After a schizophrenia episode, BibleMan goes outside to confront the Fiddler. I'm sorry, what? When I said BibleMan felt a disturbance in the Force, I was joking. You know what? This is fine. It's not like other Toku are immune to cashing in on trends. Let's just see what they do with this. BibleMan's and the Fiddler's swords clash, and finally! We finally get our first action scene! And it's about as exciting as Obi-Wan and Darth Vader's lightsaber poking. Look, I understand why they're fighting with swords. You know, the sword is a metaphor for the Bible, and they don't want to show any hand-to-hand violence. That's fine. But that doesn't mean they can't be creative with these sword duels.
Perhaps not, but I know one who does. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
I have the power of God and Tokusatsu on my side. And just as BibleMan is about to get the upper hand, Nikki interrupts him and the Fiddler escapes. So if you're looking for someone to blame on why this episode goes on for another 13 minutes, I've got you covered.
Pastor Greg says he needs your help. Ashley quit the group, and this whole thing's a huge mess.
Do you really need help from BibleMan? Just go to her house and talk to her. You're making this way more complicated than it needs to be. Later that night, at what I assume is the Bible Cave, BibleMan searches the villain's wiki for the Fiddler while doing his best impression of me while editing this video.
Gotcha. Rather a nasty character too, aren't you? Thank you, Lord.
You know, Batman used to be considered the world's greatest detective. Why can't BibleMan be like that? Maybe instead of searching for his nemesis on the World Wide Web of vagueness, he can ask the kids if they noticed anything different about Ashley. Maybe he could talk to Ashley where she admits that she made a conscious choice to spread the Fiddler's lies, clearing up the ambiguity. But why bother with an intriguing plot? This is BibleMan we're talking about. We then cut to the kids in detention as BibleMan walks into the classroom.
Nikki? Come here a minute. Is everything okay with you guys?
Why did he ask her? He already knows what's going on. What was the point of the scene? Better yet, what was the point of Nikki interrupting him when he was already taking care of the problem?
Sounds like a job for BibleMan.
Oh cool, we finally get to see the BibleMan henshin! Whoa! So many graphics! Wait, what show is this again? Oh, thanks. We then transition to what I think is a dream sequence where Ashley mopes around in her DW cosplay while... Another song? What is with the show and random songs? They feel so out of place and they take away from the action. They feel like gimmicks. Oh, I see what's happening here. You know how in most Tokusatsu seasons there's a weird gimmick that only exists to sell toys? Well, I bet this show uses worship songs as their gimmick. If they make enough episodes and include enough songs, maybe they could release a few albums. Which they did. After finishing her pity party, Ashley sits on a park bench and BibleMan joins her. You know, if I didn't know who BibleMan... Actually, never mind, it's weird either way. BibleMan then gives her a simple lesson on sinning. Not lying, just sinning in general. That's another issue with this show's message. It's so basic with no nuance. This episode doesn't delve into why lying is bad or the consequences for it. The things kids use to remind themselves not to misbehave. I hate to go back to this comparison, but in Larry Boy, we see the consequences of Junior's lies and how they ultimately landed him in more trouble than if he just told the truth. Yeah, I know the whole snowball of lies storyline is a cliche, but that's only because it works so well. What's really ironic is that this episode has the makings for a great lesson on a completely different topic. Remember when I said Ashley has a problem with responsibility? Well, this episode might have unintentionally taught a great lesson on that. We see how she not only lets her friends down, but her entire church down. And because of that, her friends don't want to trust her, perfectly summarizing what happens when you don't follow through on your commitments. But no! We need a lesson about lying, because you can't have a Christian children's show without the lying episode.
No offense, BibleMan, but...
Your show is awful. I love how during this heartfelt conversation, you can still hear the squeaks of his suit.
Okay, maybe this will be better. This will be.
Ashley then returns to the church to apologize while the Fiddler perfectly describes the unfortunate Sunday school class that had to watch this video.
What a sad-looking group of kiddies. Hardly a glimmer of joy in the place.
They, of course, forgive her. They are Christian, after all.
I was afraid you wouldn't want me to be part of the group anymore.
I thought you would not allow a robot child to be a part of your human youth group.
That's okay. Just next time, talk to us first, will ya?
How about next time, you do your freaking job, Ashley! Well, that's going on. The BibleMan and the Fiddler face each other once again.
I believe it's time for a memory verse.
Said every Awana leader ever.
Proverbs 13:5. Saying foolish things is like setting a trap to destroy yourself. Proverbs 18:7. Proverbs 19:5. Willingness and stupidity don't go well together. Proverbs 19:2.
Okay guys, this might be a little crazy, but bear with me. I don't think BibleMan is a Hindu. How does BibleMan defeat the Fiddler? He doesn't. The Fiddler just stabs himself in the leg and...
Oh, rats.
Steve Buscemi was right. He does live in fear of what he's created. It's also worth noting that this episode had 2 special effects artists. Imagine how it could have looked if it only had 1. BibleMan then retires for the night and thanks God for the opportunity to kill someone. It's then revealed that BibleMan reads the Bible? Who would have thought? The episode then ends with the kids singing another song. Skip? Well, that was a disaster of biblical proportions. Like, what else can I say about this that hasn't already been said by everyone else who has done a review on this show? The writing is lazy, the jokes are awful, the acting is laughable, the story is padded beyond belief, and the special effects are borderline creepy! Now, if those were the episode's only issues, I could have probably written it off as harmless. Stupid, but fun in a so bad it's good way. But it's the episode's message that really pushes it over the edge for me. It's so vague that kids might not learn anything, and its execution is so bad that kids might get the wrong ideas from it. So congratulations, BibleMan. You failed at the most important part of Christian children's entertainment. Teaching. Overall, if you want to watch a good Christian superhero, you're better off with a certain lean and mean green machine that's looking great, fashion plate, out of sight, and...
Dynamite!
Well, that was a train wreck. I mean, how hard is it to integrate songs into your show without feeling intrusive? Contrast that with a certain cartoon that contained these sort of silly songs between its episodes, and they were great. A little show you might have heard of, called The Looney Tunes Show. You've been watching The LionDog Show. Have a great day, and God bless.